Welcome to the Jungle Brothers podcast. I'm Joey. We've got T and Paul in the house. How are you guys?
Good.
Hello.
Righto.
Reasonable. We're at episode 101, and you guys wouldn't know this, but we did just have an epic conversation, mainly between T and Paul, where they hashed out a bunch of business real talk, the kind of shit that you wish you could do with your family members, where you just get to the bottom of issues. Man, it was exceptional to watch. It
Stemmed into the childhood.
It went back to childhood for both of you.
I got a daughter now and I get teary easy too, and I got teary.
Funny how that happened, isn't it?
Do you get teary when it gets closer to the core?
You do.
I find you do.
Yeah. For
like
sure.
there's some
The voice
armor
starts
there.
wavering, and then I'm like,
Yeah. And like it's not weakness.
no,
It's just lubricating the eyes. I get teary. This is really interesting. I get teary sometimes explaining or showing things to Misa, my partner, that I'm passionate about. That and I would tell like a movie. Like I tell about a movie and how much I like it, or a musician, and I'll find myself getting teary.
Wow.
And I think it's because, get this, because I didn't have that with my ex. I think that's what it is.
Wow.
Because my ex would
Wow.
have been like, oh, great. Like, yeah, who cares?
Misa's so curious and interested in what you're saying at the time, and that's what
She'll listen to
makes
anything.
it. And and that's what gets it going. It's not just the telling of it, but her reaction to it.
It's not her reaction. It's the fact that I know she's interested.
That- yeah.
in you.
I know that this conversation, that you know, she's just like, yeah, oh, wow. Like, tell me more about that movie. And I'm like, there's this guy. He has to fight a bunch of other guys. He's really good at kung fu. Yeah. I think I hide it from her, but I probably don't. I'm like, I turn away.
She might know now. That's great.
I cried in that movie. Have you seen that movie where the Indian child gets lost? It's a true story.
Oh,
And
Lion
then-
or something
Yeah,
like that?
that one.
I haven't
Oh,
seen it, but I
God,
know
bro.
all about
I-
the story.
Bawling into a pillow is horrible.
Really?
Yeah, I held it the whole way through, and then right at the end it said, I think
Wait, I haven't seen it.
no, it was just like a statistic
Okay.
at the end that just says like 90,000 children under the age of like 8 just disappear off the face of the planet in India every year. And I read that after watching the story of like one of them, and I just fucking
Lost it.
I lost it. My wife was like, look at me, just like, what are you doing? And I'm just like, I'm fucking crying to a pillow right now. It was,
You're getting chocolate all over that pillow.
yeah, it was, oh man, that film is,
That's the one where he finds his family via Google Maps, yeah?
yes.
Yes.
It's a great
'Cause I-
film. Like,
Yeah. I was listening to an interview with him like 2 years before that on the ABCRN. I was like,
wow.
what? Before they made, I think because he made it into a book and then it was a movie.
Yeah.
But how incredible. It was just like
was
walking
incredible.
the streets trying to have things trigger him. Yeah. And
yes. And like
if you could
he
remember a
had no
place.
idea where he was from. He just knew he was from somewhere in India.
But he's in
because
Melbourne
he
all
got
the time.
lost at the age of like 3.
Jesus.
And then he just remembers a couple of little things. He remembered a couple of little things about his hometown, and there was a few, and you know, all these little like shanty towns look the same on a map.
And change probably month to month.
Yeah, and he just remembered a couple of water towers, I think it was, and that was it. So he just became obsessed with searching every town and street in the whole of India.
Is it kid friendly? I
On
might watch
Google
it
Maps.
this weekend.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, for like years.
And he found
Became
his
obsessed
home.
with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the end, yeah.
Wow.
I'll watch that with the kids if that's kids
Yeah, it's a
friendly.
good kids
Yeah,
film. Yeah.
I balled up in a pillow the other day. We watched, Misa and I
go.
watched The Road together.
Oh, you're saying it's
fucking
heavy.
Dismal, that film.
Oh, man.
There's no end to it.
It's just
Just
relentless.
like taking big breathers. You're like, oh God.
Yeah. She was in tears like pretty much after the opening credits started. And we watched half of it on a Saturday and then half the next night. And she was like, I mean, she just gave birth, right? Like 10 weeks ago.
Yeah, oh
so
gosh.
it's, you know,
Not
and
the
she's
right film to be watching.
Yeah, it's
that.
not
Haven't
the
seen
right.
it.
And I was
For
like,
either of
oh,
you.
fuck, it's a bad choice. Well, I just read the book. And so I was like, I really want to watch the movie again. I saw
Yeah.
it years ago and I finished the book.
What's the name of the lead in that? He's fucking cool.
Viggo
Vito-
Mortensen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
it.
like that guy.
He's great, isn't
Yeah.
he? Yeah. Yeah, man, it was harrowing. But yeah, I got to the end. Even the book made me tear up, but then I got to the end of the film and we were both like both balling up.
You know what sucks about that film? Like usually when you watch post-apocalyptic, it's some like untouchable, like survivalist,
Book of Eli
martial
type
artist,
stuff.
ass kicker, like just tearing his way through all the fucking
Zombies and cannibals and
zombies
shit.
and shit, and but this one's like what it would be like. For you and me, or for anyone, it's just like you just buggered from the day one. It's over.
It's true.
Yeah,
Inadequacy, loss,
yeah.
great sadness.
We should do movie review
skills.
podcast, boys.
That'd be cool. That'd be real cool. Well, I've been listening to a buddy's podcast, the Double Impact podcast.
Oh,
There's a little
yeah,
reference for anyone listening. The Double Impact podcast, they review films from their childhood. They're like born in the 80s, so like 90s era films. They review them.
A lot there.
And they just pick a movie and do an episode on it. But they have a really cool format where they'll play sound bites from the film. They'll play the trailer of the film. They'll give you context about, they'll be like, this film was released in like October of 1991. Let me tell you what was going on in 1991.
Context.
So they talk about some of the big things in world politics and you're like, oh yeah, fuck, like Monica Lewinsky and Bill Clinton, I remember that. Like, you know, and then they like tell the story and then they go into like the production of it and they've obviously done their research, but it gets you very riled up to be like, oh, I want to go and watch There's Something About Mary again or Point Break or whatever it is. Gets you really amped.
I always wanted to own an old cinema and play old classic movies there. The Ritz has all the Coen brothers. Well, I went there a few months ago and I saw a poster out the front and it was just a bill with times where they played all of the Coen brothers films over the next few months.
Oh, wow.
I was like, fuck, I wish the Ritz was near me. Be mad.
Yeah, they've always done cool stuff like that.
Ritz is good.
Yeah.
They did, I saw they had like a director's cut 4K screening of Blade Runner. Oh no, sorry. They did Blade Runner and they also did The Fifth Element, but they run them for like a couple of weeks. So it's like you can go there and see this kind of iconic film, but it wouldn't be on show in any other cinema.
That's a cool thing that, you know, if I was mega rich, that's what I'd do. Or, you know,
buy your own.
I get a cinema with you, Joe, and or maybe a drive-through and we just like curate
break
fucking
out
free
the car
nights for
together.
kids to watch, some
Front
education.
of the drive.
Bruce
Yeah.
McDonald, films. Yeah.
Love it.
Hey guys, just gonna turn the lights off. Yeah, that'd be dope. Well, one day we will be mega rich, Paul.
I'm looking.
Yes. And,
That's
well,
right.
T, but you'll be up there.
I've told you guys many times.
Oh, we hear you, bro.
The new June's coming out. I'm looking forward to that.
Oh,
yeah. That,
Yeah.
look,
Is
that
it?
trailer?
Did you see a
Herbert.
trailer for that?
Yes, it
I
looks,
gotta
looks
have a look.
amazing.
Does
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
I
it
never
looks
saw the original. Would you suggest seeing that?
good. No, I don't think it's necessary. It was a bit of a flop. I mean, if you like, what's his name again? The director? Did a race
South African
ahead.
guy.
He did Blue Velvet. He's a mad tripper.
David Lynch.
David Lynch.
That's not the director.
he
of
did-
the original June.
Oh,
yeah.
sorry. Yeah.
The original June. Yeah.
He's a tripper, but typically a different genre. It's sci-fi, right?
sci-fi. And
Yeah.
he kind of sci-fi art housey it, and it just got a bit boring.
Okay.
But the new one looks awesome, and the book is fucking awesome. I had to reread it just before it comes out, so I had a little fucking chop into that. It's
Would you
great.
suggest reading the book?
Yeah, it's sick.
Okay.
But I really love sci-fi, so if you like sci-fi, the book is cool. Otherwise, it might be a bit of a drag.
I'm currently reading my third science fiction book in the last 12 months.
Oh wow. Yeah, definitely give June a go then.
I've jumped into the genre.
What did you read?
I started with Brave New World and then
nice.
1984.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh
a
my
bit dismal.
God.
And yeah.
Yeah.
And now
But good.
I'm reading.
Orwell stuff's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Now I'm reading Rendezvous with Rama.
I don't know that.
It's one that Mies gave to me. It's cool.
It's good.
Real cool. It's. I would consider those other two because they're kind of literary classics. They almost don't necessarily fall into sci-fi.
Yeah.
Whereas this one that I'm reading now, it's just like pure sci-fi.
Yeah.
And I'm really liking it.
Oh, if you
Mad.
get through them and have a crack at June, I love it.
I've always talked shit about it, but I'm coming around.
Oh, it's the best. The best. Anyway, we're talking JB Games, aren't
We're
we?
talking JB Games. It's episode 101. If you guys didn't listen, last week was episode 100. We had Justin Lang on. We're talking all about knee surgeries, knee rehab.
Oh, how did that go?
Really good.
Is he the guy from
Live Athletic.
in Cronulla? No,
Caringbah.
Caringbah.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep. He knows
so he came
you.
on. Amazing.
Yeah, came on.
Yeah.
He remembers you from back in the TP gym days.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was really good. It was. I mean, fuck. He's a bit of a mad scientist. I'd say he's a bit of a whiz in his head.
Yeah.
And so he just spat all of this stuff, current studies, what the science is showing us, best rehab protocols. There's a lot of good things in there. I would say probably for someone who's not suffering an acute knee issue, they'd probably be like, oh, this is a bit too techie for me.
Yeah.
But it was really cool to have him on. I really liked it all because, I mean, I've been rehabbing my own knee. And I've had, every single person who I know who is suffering from a knee, either injury or has had a surgery or whatever, has been sharing that podcast and commenting on it. Like it hit home for anyone that's been in that situation. So it was very cool.
Great.
Yeah. It was sick.
Oh, I want to have a listen to that. Did Anand have a listen to that?
No, but he probably should.
He should, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't see him screenshot it on Instagram, so hit him up.
Yeah.
We're talking Community 101 today, an extension of episode 87, which we recorded a few months back, where we were talking about in that episode, we were discussing our epic Christmas parties and why we believe it's so important to put a hefty amount of energy and thought into creating a spectacular Christmas party. Today we're exploring another facet of our community events, which is the JB Games. Can you guys tell me what the JB Games are?
Shall I start?
Yeah, you start.
JB Games is an annual event that we have in the gym, usually half yearly. We didn't get to have it last year because of COVID, but
we had an alternative in there though.
We did,
fight, yeah.
Yeah, we had the fight that came later in the year for sure. But the JB Games is a series of events that our membership or the people in our community here take part in. And it's a series of events of physical challenges. The different physical challenges has been curated by us over the years. We started with a set. Every year we try to make it a little better. And the events are picked to try to expose, all the different attributes that we think, the physical attributes that we think are important for, the Jungle Brothers model, well-rounded human being.
Yeah, and a place to test thy metal.
Test thy metal. So in those events, there's weightlifting. There's, I guess I look at the attributes. For me, I always look at it from that. It's like there's some body weight feats or things that require good body to strength ratio. There's lifting objects. There's working in teams. There's fight aspect in that. And I did say physical before, but it's never detached from the mental aspect. So there was some striking in there as well as grappling.
Recently we've had a grappling comp in there, which is a new development.
Yes, new development. And then there's flexibility or mobility exposure in some of the other events. I really like the one that what do we call it? The high kick one, the tennis ball, best. which was the Green Hornet. That was my input. I was quite proud of the Green Hornet.
That was probably my favorite.
That was Green Hornet, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah. And so what other events are there?
Can I give you a name of some of the events?
Yeah.
The day opens with the War Paint Face-Off. Second event, Flip Fatality.
Yeah.
Third event, chest to wall or canopy hang. Choose your weapon. The Power Lift, Limbo, Kumite, Van Damage, Tree Climb, Green Hornet, Masters of Movement, Circus Maximus.
Oh, that was brutal.
Catch Wrestler, and the final event, Obstacle Course.
We could probably come up with a better name for that.
Yeah,
Obstacle Course. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah. Jesus.
Where did it start? Let's go back to the beginning.
So I think it started, it was probably born out of your idea of, what was it, Primal Theatre?
The Primal Theatre.
Primal Theatre was the ignition of them. What's Primal Theatre?
Well,
care to share?
Primal Theatre was to recreate the concept was to use the gym as more like a movie set, and to set scenarios, and then to play those scenarios out in a physical manner. So it's almost like drama and exercise and quotations combined, and to play with like the weather events, the heat, the light and the temperature, the color of the light, the objects that you shift and move. All of the scenarios are task based and they're team based. So it could be like, and we're talking like Stone Age scenarios. So maybe you have like a leather bag shaped like a horse, and the scenario is that you and your friend have just taken down this wildebeest, and now you're under attack from a neighboring tribe, and there might be 3 others that have come across you, and your aim is to get that animal across the floor to your cave before these guys kind of take it from you, you know?
That's a good example of a scenario.
And you have to like wrestle them and then drag and wrestle and fight someone off. One fights 2 off and that kind of thing. And we didn't do it, but it's still in the pipeline, bro.
It's not off the
And
table.
that's just one of an endless amount of Stone Age scenarios that our ancestors would have had to overcome at some point in time.
Mate, if there's Channel 10 or whoever it is out there, come at us.
We could have
we'll
even
pitch this whole
you know,
thing to you.
like
Because it's a
Bubonic
game show thing.
Plague, you got all kinds of shit.
Fight, lift, move in action.
Correct. And you said it's scenario based, but the environment is also a factor, which I think is really
Massive
cool.
factor.
And
Yeah.
it's hard to realize in the regular gym, but the idea was how could we build a space in which we could manipulate the environment,
Yeah.
put the scenarios in, and then be like, this is your class. Like, how could you make that your training? And then it kind of moved away from that into like, how do we make this into at least a one-off event?
Yeah.
And try to test out these things. And I guess that was the starting place.
Well, you know, the very start of that offering, because we kind of knew what it was going to be, but we were having a social event at mid-year, and
People wanted to get on the Terps.
well, yeah, it was like we put a survey out, or it was just a text or something on Facebook. What does everyone want to do? Do you want to go lawn? It was lawn bowls,
rock climbing, or
rock
something like
climbing,
that.
JB games, and one other thing or something. And then everyone just replied back JB games. And at that point,
That's
we were
right.
like, oh, fuck, we don't even know what that really is at this stage.
Yeah.
So we built one.
We
And
did.
Yeah. And that was the very first JB games.
And a lot of those events that we named before, that list of events is from the 2019 games. So there's been some development since then, but a lot of those games were in the first one and have been like staple events ever since.
Ever since, yeah.
I think we saw in the CrossFit games, I think we also were watching what was happening there and we're like, that's a really cool thing that they have in that community where they have this yearly event. At the time it was yearly, and at the time it was more of you could say it was more of a community type thing. Now it's just its own sports league, sort of. But it was like, oh, it would be really cool to have something like that. And a lot of the events they do are really awesome, but we're like,
Very serious.
yeah, and
very
it's just
serious.
strength and conditioning. It doesn't cover certain other attributes of physicality or even
Like limbo.
readiness, like limbo, like fucking Van Damage. Van Damage, if you're wondering, partner holds a kick pad at hip height, and then every single person on the team, there's 15 people on the team, have to throw 100 kicks,
100 round kicks.
100
each
kicks,
leg.
each leg, and it's the team that finishes first.
Yeah. And
So
you
there's-
once you start, can't stop.
And it's a room full of people just. That's one of the most hectic
There
events.
was more than 15
You
on
have,
the
to
team.
you have to turn away
Yeah.
because a lot of them don't go to Fight Factory. So
They're not high quality kicks.
it's pretty ugly.
I mean, everyone can play. That's the beauty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's the coaches are running it. We're running it. Then you have coaches
Some
who
coaches compete.
who mentor a team and get them organized and help them be organized. But each team has a member that is the team leader, and then they also have a coach assigned. And there's also adjudicators for different events. So there's people there like counting the reps, like no, not enough reps.
Yeah, it's-
put that pad up higher.
Yeah.
You know,
You got it. Cause I mean, you know, especially with such,
People like to cheat.
such a spectrum of events,
yes,
you have to really
Quality control.
Yeah. Quality control is a huge part of that.
And there's
It's
a lot
not-
on the line. you know.
So it's a 12 months of glory.
Yeah, and a beer. You get a beer. The opposite
Oh,
team
that's
has
right.
to buy
Yep,
you a beer
yep.
at the pub after.
That's right. And in that setting, and we do it with the face paint and everything. And when I think I don't know, was it you, Paul, that suggested the face paint idea first up?
And we to split we literally split the gym in two.
Yeah.
So we did that the first year, and no one knew what we were doing. We said, go and find the person that's most similar to you.
Strength.
Height. And they're all usually training buddies because you train with people that are on your level, and they're all like, oh yes, we're going to be
Together.
And they were like, right, one of you step on one side of the room, the other one step on the other, and they were like, oh, fuck.
People were so burned over that.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
then they realized they were competing against each other for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And that was your competitor. It was great.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
That was. So then you step away, you get allocated your coach who's going to look after you, and then it's your mission to come up with a name,
with a
team leader, then come up with a name, and then paint yourselves and
Clan leader.
Yeah, then get tribal and that shit.
You choose your colours.
And man, once people put face paint on,
Yeah, God sick.
they
It's
get
fucking
fucking
real.
primal.
They do, eh?
God, real.
Like shit gets
Got a
it
bit scary.
changes. Yeah.
That's so scary. And I know that might sound silly because you look at events like Limbo and Tree Climb, but every year, besides last year, we've had somebody either go to hospital or get picked up by the ambulance from our gym.
every year.
And we've tried our
And we're
hardest
not
to stop
super
that
proud
from
of that,
happening.
but
no.
but you know,
It-
it also shows the severity of competing at such a level.
Yes. Yeah. And these unorthodox events that challenge the body.
That's right.
You know? Circus
What-
Maximus. Oh.
What are the well, I guess what are some of those injuries that have occurred? Like what are we talking about? Let's give folks
What
a
was
little run through.
first year was
First one was like it was a sprained spleen, I believe it was.
A sprained spleen.
A sprained spleen.
Yeah.
It was something. Oh, and it was a sprained.
Is back
something.
at the old gym.
Yeah, it was a sprain, and it was
that was on the net climb, wasn't it?
no, it
Upside
was
down.
it was the donkey. I think it might have been a warm up game, but it was the cloth in the back of the pants, and you've got someone trying to take that. You've both got a cloth on the
Yeah.
back of your shorts, and you're trying to take it from the other person, pull their tail off. And
Marek and
it was
Andrew.
Marek. Nah, Timmy, I thought it was.
Oh, wasn't it Andrew?
Oh, maybe it was. Okay.
It was Marek and Andrew.
You're right,
Yeah.
Odgie.
Oh, is that what happened to Marek?
Yeah, and then so they know each other well, and it got turned into a bit of a tackle, and
It was a
yeah.
full-on
It turned to a
suplex
full-on grapple.
Yeah, it was a
They were
full-on
just scuttling along like the whole
on
room.
the hard ground.
Yeah.
And then Andrew kind of got under him, and rather than taking the rag, picked him up and
Shit, it was a
dumped him on his head.
Did he?
Yeah, it was full on. Like he landed on his head on the hard surface, and we thought that Marek had broken his neck. 'cause he was
Marek
just
is
lying
the
there.
toughest fucking guy that trains in our gym too.
Oh man, it was scary.
But yeah, he was on the ground and he's like, I can't move.
And we had like a couple of doctors there, and we were like, okay, this doctor's here, and they're like, call an ambulance.
Yeah, you got to play it safe.
So we kind of like stretched him off to the side and put 2 kettlebells on each side of his head, and then packed him in like this tight little position. And the poor guy was just lying there, like staring up at the ceiling, hoping that his neck wasn't broken. And you could see that he was very worried, of course, as he would be, because he thought that he heard a crack as well. But over that time, the games went on.
The games must go on.
Games went on. Even the doctors were like, "Yeah, we're here to compete."
Yeah.
And
we've done all the right things.
We opened the
Time.
roller door. It was a rainy day. We opened the roller
open
door.
roller doors.
Shipped him out when the ambulance
The
arrived.
ambulance pulled up to the back of the gym.
Yep.
And we were in the next event, and everyone's like screaming and yelling with pain on their faces, like just into it. And there's this guy lying on the ground in a neck brace with or his neck braced with kettlebells with pain all over his face. And they're just like, what the fuck is going on here? They put him in a stretcher and took him to the hospital.
And he fucking loved it. And I think we were in touch with him, and he came good, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well,
So
he went to the hospital, and they went to the specialist, the neck injuries place where they do all the spinal stuff. And he sat down, and they sat him down, and then the doctor said, "Can you do this?" And nodded and put his head up and down. He said, "Can you do this?" And turned his head left to right. And Muddock did both, and he said, "Yeah, okay, you're fine. You can go."
Oh, wow.
That was it. Didn't even echo him.
We had to be extra cautious.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the other one. Another one
we
was...
were very concerned at the time.
Yeah,
But looking back
yeah.
now, it's like, it was fucking
He
great.
was very concerned. He thought he'd snapped his neck.
Yeah.
I thought he'd snapped his neck. It was fucking horrible.
Yeah, you got to think the worst and go through all those procedures. The other one, another one
rope
that
fall.
wasn't as severe. Oh, Liam?
Liam tried to win the rope climb. It was like both teams had gotten through climbing the top of the rope and go back down again, and it was the first team to get all their competitors.
He was like
to
the
top
last
down.
or something like that. Yeah.
There were two. It was him and one other, and he was coming up short, and he dropped from a higher position, and then his foot landed between the mats or something.
I think it just
Hit
landed
hard
on the
ground.
mat.
Yeah.
Landing
And
on
it
the
just
mats.
fucking-
Crash
is-
mats can be problematic
Yes,
for that.
yeah.
Yeah, and it just twisted out from
Just
under
twisted
him.
his ankle.
Oh, it was a bit gross.
There's a
blew
decent
up.
sprain.
The other one was big fella from Surrey Hills.
Leon Massey.
Oh, shouts.
What was that
Shouts.
game? Was that Circus Maximus?
Circus Maximus.
Circus Maximus.
So Circus
Carnage.
Maximus, it's a very simple event, and you could do this at your next family get-together on Christmas Day or something.
But the original Circus Maximus, you should talk about as well. So where the idea derived from.
Oh, well, tell us where it comes from, what the Romans were doing.
Yeah, so they in Rome, the Circus Maximus was a stadium that fit 250,000 people in one stadium, and they did that by digging into the ground like a quarry. So they didn't have to build up; they just built steps, and then the bottom of that quarry, they dug out a pit in the shape of an oval, but a very like two really straight lines and a really sharp bend, and then you'd have, I think it was maybe 6 competitors, and each would have 6 horses and a 2-wheel cart on it. And on that cart, you had one driver and one other with a weapon to fight off anyone coming next to you.
6 horses for one cart.
Yeah, it's like a fucking. It would have been like a roadster or like a Ferrari.
6
Yeah.
It'd
horsepower.
be like having a Ferrari with a guy with a gun outside, like equivalent.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And then you have this real sharp bend where everyone just fucking gets nailed into the corner, and then you got to get around it like, I don't know, I think it's like six laps, and they had to shut it down because each horse represented a section of Rome, and people got so fucking fired up over this event that they ended up rioting and burning half of Rome because it got them so fucking fired up. So
Because
they
the event was so
it just
like
got people
carnageful.
Yeah, got people too excited.
It's a bit like the mad soccer.
And so the person with the weapon, they can attack the other
They
horses.
can attack.
They can
I
attack
think
the
no,
driver.
they can only attack the other.
And they're trying to kill
players.
them? Is it
Right.
like death?
Yeah, it's death. Like
Like
you're
shooting
hitting these
arrows.
corners. Like you're hitting corners. At
But are they trying to like stab someone with a spear?
Yeah, you're trying to fuck each other
Shank.
up. Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah, Russell Crowe's got some stories about those
He's got some
days.
stories. He's
Tell
done
you
that
what.
shit.
That must be where
That's the other
that
fella.
soccer culture comes from, where they get all
Well,
crazy.
that's
and
what
start
it is.
burning shit.
It was the hooligans,
Hooligans.
and they just went
yeah,
fucking
right.
nuts. Burnt down half of Rome. So anyway, we created.
So
our
we thought
own-
naturally we're going to run that.
We're going to dig a hole in the gym.
The old gym was like, I don't know, you put a few shoeboxes together and you get an idea of the floor space of the place.
Did they used to fill that with water as well? I think
that was a Coliseum.
That was a Coliseum. And
Before
they
they
put boats
built-
in there and had events.
Yeah, that was before they built the under. They had a like.
Yep.
But they used to fill it, and then they stopped filling it, and they built like a big underground cavern where they could pull animals out of the ground through trapdoors, and
The original entertainers.
Amazing events.
you'd definitely go if you went back in time. Would you go and watch one?
Fuck yeah.
It'd be amazing.
Dude,
wouldn't
undoubtedly.
carnage.
It's like UFC.
it? Just better.
But you remember the UFC, the promo video used to be like a gladiator
Yeah.
waiting underground and then would step into the arena and then
that's
the
right,
event would start. That was back in the day. But so we ran ours, which was slightly less involved, but we got kegs that we use. They're full of water for lifting and stuff. And we had these kegs. So we put sort of essentially set out like a track, and the kegs marked each of the 4 corners on the inside edge of the track.
Yeah,
And then-
short corners and tight bend.
Yeah, it's like a 90-degree turn. And it was like, I don't know, one end of the gym to the other was probably 10 meters.
Yeah.
And then it's like 2 meters across and then back.
Yeah.
And it's 2 competitors, so you and your partner line up. And then it's like you're down on all fours and it's ready, set, go. And you have to on your hands and feet. You have to go around the course. I think we did it
They
twice.
sprint together.
So you sprint twice. Now, obviously, the person that's on the inside
was
edge
twice.
has the advantage because if you're on the inside edge, you can edge them out on when you get to the corner. So it gets very physical, very fast.
Tactical.
But you also, a big part of it was you got to have good wrist mobility and you got to be comfortable on your hands like that.
Yeah.
Because you just slam, like you are sprinting on your hands and feet. And so,
Fuck, that's a tough.
and once you, and it sounds so simple and you're like, oh, that's fine. Like we're all crawling around and trying to crawl fast at each other. But fuck me, it got so intense.
Yeah.
And Big Leon came around a corner, finger hit a keg, and he stood up partway through the event and his pinky finger was bent at 90 degrees.
Just dislocated.
Yeah,
He
eh?
was just
second knuckle.
holding it up. Yeah, it was like an
Right.
L-shaped finger.
I was like,
Did he hit a keg? I thought it was just on the ground.
It could have been.
Yeah. He dislocated.
And we had nurses in the gym, and we took to one of the nurses, and she looked at her and went, I can't look at that. Take him to the hospital. Funny, like none of the medical staff in the gym wanted a part of any of the injuries. They're just like, get him out.
Yeah.
I'm competing.
We've got places for that.
Each year, that Circus Maximus, we've had to up the padding setup.
The safety.
Yeah, we've done pretty good. It's just fully padded.
Yeah.
Well, in truth, actually, his was here on the mats.
Yeah, it was.
If I
wasn't
remember
it?
correctly. It wasn't
Yeah,
at
you
the
can't
old
avoid-
gym.
yeah.
And, you know, so I think we were fortunate that, I mean, everyone made it out alive back at the old gym. It was
Smaller.
more just like
Yes.
bumps and bruises. You're on the hard rubber mat, so you're like scuffing your elbows and knees and shit.
It's almost like if you got a little bit more of that hard stuff, like you're a bit more cautious.
Yeah.
When it's things soften up, you just throw your body into it a bit more.
But that's the Joe Rogan bare knuckle UFC theory that's now proven wrong because in bare knuckle FC they're just cutting each other up. You know, he always said, if they did MMA or boxing without gloves, that
That would
there would be
change.
less head trauma because you're more cautious about where you throw shots and stuff and blah blah blah. And then bare knuckle FC came out and he just retracted that statement. He'd been arguing that for like a decade. They're in
Yeah,
there
right.
slicing each other up and breaking their hands.
And just pummeling. Wow.
God.
Just pounding. Competition, man. Money and,
Yeah.
and competition.
the glory,
Glory.
like the JB games.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, maybe we should skip a little faster through some of the events.
Aaron got an injury.
Azza
Oh, yes.
got an injury.
Can we
doing-
talk about that one?
Please.
Because I love that one. And I think, for others listening, when we're looking at the events, I mentioned we're looking at the attributes, the physical attributes, mental kind of attributes as well involved. And then there's a mixture of team events that require you guys to, coordinate between each other. And this is kind of one of them, as well as there's endurance and there's power involved in other ones. And this one is like teams have to be pretty organized for this one. But it's a hanging and chest to wall endurance game where, the whole team takes part. Some of the events are all of the team, like every member takes part, and then some of them you choose champions
champion.
to go and compete. And so you need 6 of yours and choose that person, choose those people. This one, everyone does it, and it goes for quite a long time, but I don't think there's anyone that's waiting for it to finish. So
It's definitely the nail biter.
it is.
It's a relay of sorts.
Yes, it is a relay. So you have the opportunity. Everyone has to be in a maximum passive hanging off a bar with full body weight. A maximum hang or the option to do a maximum chest to wall.
Yeah, we got rid of the chest to wall because it was just
After
destroying people.
Aaron.
We did that last.
So I think
last
if
year.
if you haven't done it before, you jump up to a pull-up bar and you hang from it. You grip it, you hang from it, and your job is to stay there for as long as you can. And then the next person in line has to get up once you get off. But the rule is that you're not allowed to have no competitor on the bar for any amount of time. So you have to notify the next in line when you're about to fail so that they can jump up in anticipation. They jump up, grab, and then you can come down.
Yeah, correct.
Right. And you try to be the last person hanging.
And then we've got the adjudicators who are policing it. And if
There's like
there's a
20,
gap,
20 aside usually.
It's huge.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
if you think
Well,
people
last
get an
game was
average of
30
like,
aside, 30 aside.
I think it took us
60
like
people.
35 minutes to get through because you got people out there hanging for multiple minutes.
Yeah,
That's right.
some are like 3-4 minutes plus.
Yeah, I'd say probably the worst is like
climbers.
30 seconds.
Yeah.
In that, with that pressure, like people hang.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck.
And if
And
they-
you're allowed to
Yes.
heckle.
This
Yes,
is
that's
that
a
was
big part
that
of
was
it.
a huge
Tell us
feature
more.
of the event.
Well, you can't touch the other opponent. Like the teams that are the people that are waiting can't touch their opponent.
Yes.
But you're allowed to get in their face and play the mind games and just
this is the best
shit talk to them while they're hanging. So you might have like 6 people around you just shit talking you the whole time you're trying to hold out for another 30 seconds.
And then you
It
got
is
people
great.
in your team defending,
That's right.
but
It's ravenous.
it gets
But they're not allowed to
physical.
touch, not
Yeah,
allowed
there's a
to
lot
touch.
of jeering and
But they're
You'll never
always
make it.
someone
Yeah.
will always buckle and try and push someone out of the way. And
then we penalise them. We penalise them for pushing or physical touching,
Yeah.
so you lose
You
whatever.
lose
I can't
minutes.
remember.
Yeah.
It was
Like 30-second penalty or something?
15 to
That was
30
seconds, yeah.
and then if there is a gap between the transition, then you also get penalised so many seconds, and it's just. I
great.
think that might be.
the verbal is.
I love a lot of them. But that's definitely one of my favorites. That one. The way it plays out, and it's always like real nail biting.
Oh,
you know,
Yeah, it's like down
always
the last
close.
two. It's down to the last 2.
And it's down to the last 2, and then it's like, hey, you have to fucking hold on. Like you're
Yeah.
the last person, or you got to hold on for like at least 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And if that person's like, I don't think I can do that, it's like,
Yeah.
well, it's all on you. Like,
Yeah.
it's,
And the gym it's a big gym, but it's noisy this whole period because
Yeah.
there's just it's mayhem.
It's mayhem.
Yeah, and
So what happened to Az? He went up,
well,
and I think he was one of the last ones, and he had a lot of people like saying, Az, you're going to hold out for another 10.
and this was when we used to have the chest to wall in there as well. So we thought, well, for some people who can't hang, who for whatever reason they would rather not, well, we wanted to have the handstand element. That's right. We're like,
Yeah.
we could have some kind of handstand element in there. So we thought, well, people can choose. They can hang or they can do a chest to wall handstand. And I think
Yeah, they're usually a similar time
yeah.
where you start to fatigue.
And so as it was doing the chest to wall, okay, so like I can't even remember if he was getting heckled real hard. All I remember is
No, he was getting
Az-
like, his team were like, you got to
Of
hold
course.
out for longer. It was,
he was nailing it, and he's in a
Yeah.
really good position. And then all of a sudden, he just collapsed,
yeah, it was like a crumble.
and his fucking shoulder drew like he
it landed on his shoulder.
Man, he hit the ground so hard. He's big boy.
He's a big boy.
His whole body mass just got pile drived.
Oh.
It was like his arms just disappeared from the position, and he just went bang into the ground. And his shoulder was a mess.
Yeah, it was a bicep, I think. Something.
No, I think
they were worried it was a torn. Something was torn.
Something like I think
On
it was
impact.
AC joint was a concern.
Yeah, and then
Maybe a broken clavicle. Like there was
it was.
It was like X-rays and shit.
serious.
Again, he's okay now.
He's fine.
He's fine now.
Yeah,
Yeah, stronger than
At
ever.
the time, I was like,
that's right.
But yeah, he
Hospital.
fell on that sword, and
It
we
was
took
off to
that out.
hospital, and in a fucking
Yeah, he's wearing a sling for a little
sling
while.
For a while yeah.
Had to lay off the upper body work for a little bit.
But it's team one.
It's
That's
team
all
one.
that matters.
And I mean, that was the impetus for us to get rid of the chest to wall. We ditched it in coming up until the last couple of years. We're like, all right, no more chest to wall.
Just the passive hand.
You animals
yeah.
can't control yourselves.
Yeah.
We'd rather you land on your feet than on your head.
There's powerlifting,
Power lift.
absolute strength
That's
there.
always great.
It's the deadlift.
yeah, usually deadlift.
So it's a 1 RM, and it's the total kilos lifted by the whole team
Yeah.
wins.
So you got what I think it was like half an hour to work up to your 1 RM.
Yep.
And we did as a ladder last time.
Yeah, there was a ladder, and then I think it was certain weights that you had to try and make your way through.
Yeah.
I think the next one would just be you 1 RM, I reckon.
Well, that's how we started it.
I
And
think we did
found
that, though,
This
and
was
pe-
more efficient way of, because
Just
organizing
culls
the
people
event.
quicker.
Well, because everyone wants their own bar.
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
it was
like,
more
fuck,
of
we don't
a
have enough
logistics
weights
thing. Yeah.
for 50 humans to test all at once.
That's right,
Yeah.
But the trade-off of that was we're like, all right, we'll have this ladder. So we had, I don't know, from 60 kilos up to 180 or something.
Yeah, it was Yazzy's thing.
Yeah, but it wasn't. It didn't get heavy enough. There were a few people that were like, it's not heavy enough.
Yeah.
I want 200. Like, I know. You did a good performance.
Next year, 200.
Yeah.
We have 200 on there. 200, there's a lot of people that can lift that. I can't lift that, but
Yeah, I mean, again,
You could if
in that
males-
moment with the adrenaline, with
That's
the
right.
pressure of
Lift it.
everyone watching
I
you,
could lift it.
people can do some
can
shit.
definitely lift. What are you talking?
I'll blow out a disc, but I'll lift it
Doesn't matter. Get the
Glorious.
lift.
for the glory.
There's shift over to Limbo.
That's a
And,
favourite.
you know-
Limbo is an underrated event. From a strength and mobility perspective, Limbo, people need to hang some respect on Limbo's name.
yeah.
Hang some respect on my name.
Yeah.
Why do you say that?
I mean,
I mean,
you look at knee strength. You look at like out of alignment knee and ankle strength. You look at active spinal extension. Think sissy squats. Think back bridge.
And balance.
think
balance.
inside squats. Balance.
Looking at the ceiling.
Yeah,
and
like
balancing
that's
and walking
It's
backwards.
it's the
kind of
best expression of all those attributes. You don't think about it, but we do a lot of sissy squats, and they've been, they're real cool, and shrimp squats and all that kind of stuff, and back bends, right? And then you look at Limbo, and you're like, oh, it's so demanding on all of those, on those positions and those structures of the body. It's just mad. Like, it's like, fuck, this is really cool. And you can, like some people can get super deep, but they don't have the strength to then walk.
Yeah,
To
that's
make
right.
it,
You're right.
so it's like,
Yeah.
it really favors those who have great mobility.
It did show we had a few freaks come out. Man, they were
yeah.
so low, like below my knee height, getting underneath
Yeah,
that.
there was some lows.
That was really cool.
Yeah,
Who were the freaks? Noni was a bit of a freak.
Noni. Timmy was
Timmy.
pretty awesome, but young Liam was a
Young
standout.
Liam. Yeah, he was.
Was he?
That kid was amazing. He actually beat Alan.
He did. Yeah, Alan.
Ah, that's
Alan
right. It ended
Liam.
up just
Alan
the two of them, didn't
is
it?
liquid metal.
Yes.
That's
Young Liam.
That's Alan's shit. We did that as you just go for it, and it's like elimination. So the stick gradually gets lower, and people just get cold. So it does end up with like two people going head to head,
Yeah.
which is super exciting.
Yeah, so much fun.
It is one of those events that takes a long time to get through, so you got to move quick.
And you got to have the calypso music
But
going the whole time.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great entertainment watching
Yeah.
people like get to that point where they just crumble.
Yeah,
The events are organized as well, mindfully. Like usually you're doing that after, say, you've done a high energy event.
that's right.
So yeah, because
Well, actually, so in 2019, according to this spreadsheet I'm looking at, we did the power lift and then we did limbo. So it was like max 1 RM deadlift and then into max back bend, sissy squat,
Yeah.
dynamic variation.
Keep in mind, there's a playlist that we always use. Not the same playlist, but depending on the event, there will be themed music with that event.
It's got to match the energy of the event.
Yeah, totally. Like Circus Maximus was the Gladiator soundtrack. Then we had Green Hornet, which was Kung Fu Fighting. Then we had, what do we have for Limbo?
Calypso-y.
Calypso, yeah.
Island kind of.
Yeah. And also like at the beginning, it's all tribal music when
Tribal,
when
lot
they're
of drums.
doing the
Yeah.
war paint.
A lot of tribal music.
A lot of tribal
Whole
music
way
throughout
through.
the whole day.
Yeah.
What do we see on the day, like from the members? Like what are the interesting kind of, we spoke about like how it gets super primal.
Yeah, I mean, that it is
It's a lot of
that
fun.
and the
A lot
Christmas
of
party.
bonding.
People love this day. Like they love it so much. They have so much enjoyment. It's like laughing out loud. It's like
So
when you're in
much
the
laughing.
It's like when you're in the playground playing with your friends when you're in year freaking 7 or something like that. But you don't ever have the opportunity to do that anymore because you're an adult.
I was smoking
So-
bongs in year 7, bro.
more year 5, I reckon.
Year 5, sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, people just love it. So yeah, you see a lot of bonding, a lot of laughing. It's team stuff, and not everyone's
everyone
played team sports.
Absolutely beat by the time it's finished.
Oh,
It's
they're
fucking
shagged,
tough.
man.
It's a tough
Totally
event.
shagged.
It's a long day. It's like usually about 4 hours.
Our first one went for like,
Too long.
it was like
Oh,
8
God.
hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Destroyed everyone. And,
And we had some, I think we
had
had some beers and stuff in an esky, and it was like, you can sip
Yeah.
a beer if you want.
Whole bunch of cramps and shit as well.
Oh, yeah.
the beers were
everywhere.
actually out while the event was running.
I was
finishing.
sucking beers from an hour in, I
That
think.
was, man, that was pretty loose back then.
Yeah.
Those days, good old days, Cowboys.
You see, the interesting one for me is you see the competitive side of people. And in a gym like ours where competition isn't really, I mean, you see it, you can see competition among certain people training jiu-jitsu or training in Fight Factory. But generally our training format isn't much about competition. But on that day, it's all about competition. You see the people that are fucking hardcore with it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Some of them, we know them in the gym, and some of them you hadn't seen that competitive side of them until that day. And like, you're having a beer and we're like, oh my God, did you see so-and-so? Oh, came out of their shell.
Well, Green Hornet was highly competitive.
That was
the high kick?
In its own way. That one, like, people put their body on the line for that one.
That's dangerous.
To kick
That one was to
fucking
watch
tennis
that.
ball.
So do you want to explain what it looks like?
My favourite to watch.
So Green Hornet, we got a tennis ball on a string, and then we tie that to a rope, and then
Who
we
came
tie
up with this crazy idea?
I think it was Paulie's, wasn't it?
Yeah, because we were looking to replace the mobility one, which was splits measurement
Yeah,
and
just
up.
side split.
Yeah, it was side splits measurement, and it was, you need some low energy kind of events as well, but I also thought this was a good dynamic flexibility and explosive thing.
Green Hornet, if you don't know, it was a TV show from back in the day that Bruce Lee was in, and he famously kicked off a sign. There's a sign at a park.
Yes.
That's like placed up really high, and he jumps up and fly kicks the sign off.
And I think he did it a number of times. It became a bit of a thing because he
right.
also kicks like the light out when he comes into like a scene. So he jumps up and it's kind of what they call the Chinaman's hat lampshade, and he'd kick the light. Yeah. So
totes.
that's exactly what this was with the tennis ball and a string.
But so the idea is, again, everyone goes at it. So you come in and you jump up and kick the ball. But once we've gone through every person, the ball goes higher and higher. So it's like a limbo. So it's just culling people. And if you don't kick it, you get a couple goes, you're out. And so then you're on the sidelines.
Do you get a couple or you just get one, I think?
Maybe,
We were lenient for some people who
I thought it was
but
just
no.
one shot, and if you missed, you're out.
Yeah.
maybe it was, yeah.
Pretty sure because there's a lot of people to get through. We culled through them.
But we would have people like John Osborne, we got it on video, of him, like he's a plyometric little guy, pop up there, kick the thing, and then just as he's kicked it, he's tipping backwards and then land completely on his back. Like fully winded, like zero concern for how am I going to come out of this? Just I'm kicking that ball.
Yeah.
It was fucking great.
Like neck on the line. I was worried about someone.
Yeah.
landing on their head.
and also landing on one foot, and there was a lot of tipping. There was a lot of dodgy ones. It was hard to watch that. I was cringing, But
Danny Clayton.
Danny Clayton,
He did real well at that.
I mean, he's
yes.
20 foot
He's
tall.
beanpole.
It was
But
him and Nat
Nat.
again, wasn't it?
Yeah, Nat did Nat win?
Was the most
Was
impressive.
it Nat? Nat was incredible.
Danny won, but Nat,
Oh, did he?
Nat came in second, close second.
Okay.
Nat should have won. She
She looked incredible.
expressed a lot more range, but she just wasn't tall enough.
Yeah, he's a super tall
But
guy.
there's an awesome photo of her, like, because she's a black belt in Taekwondo.
Yeah, man,
where
I've got
she
it.
jumps in the air, and she's
I've got it
like-
on slow mo video
She's
somewhere on my phone.
very high off the floor. And you watch a Taekwondo event, so they do the big jump, fly kicks, and snap the boards.
Yeah.
So I think it was a bit like that. And
Yeah,
she's just in full front split in the air, and her foot's like a millimeter from the ball. It didn't quite land.
she didn't get it.
No.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And Danny's was not as pretty, but he got it.
He is not pretty at all.
That's what it is.
But he got it. And he won for his team.
So what is it
on the
about? What is it about this day that becomes? Why is it important from a community point of view for us?
Well, yeah, that's what the whole thing was about. Hey, community.
Midwinter, for starters, it's always a tough time of year.
I guess like for us, it came organically. Like, the things that we do here has come pretty organically because we want to hang out, train with people that we like. We've created a business where we want people around that we like and enjoy spending time with. But if it's like someone who's trying to actively build a community, it's like, why build a community? And I think when it comes to community or a culture, I don't know the actual definition of them, but part of the definition of a culture or something is, a group of people that think a little bit the same, but it's built on, I think, like traditions and, customs. Do you know what I mean? It's like we have Christmas, or we're a family. We always have dinner on this time, and I think that's part of like building community. Yeah, so it's like events where you guys get together and do stuff. You know what I mean? And every culture has events, and a lot of them are around food, or whatever. It's a religious thing or it's a geographic thing. And I guess that's part of it for us. So it's like a bit of a glue. Like if we just had a gym without any events that we enjoy and like everyone gets together on, that I just don't think I could call it a community. Do you know what I mean? Just a gym that has people come and exercise and get strong without having time together to do things and celebrate and share and blah, blah, blah. I think that's what community is here.
And the common interest.
Common interests.
Self-expression, getting a chance to actually show your attributes that you've been working on,
Yep.
Testing yourself. Like, okay, I've been training in lift for 6 months now or a year, and now I'm in this position where I have to step it up a little. And the amount of people that shifted the most weight they've ever lifted in their life, that did it on that day was phenomenal. And they'd never do it in class because the competition element's not there, and you're not doing it for the team. You're just doing it for yourself. So you're just a little more, you're less inclined to push yourself, and then just the building those relationships, making them even stronger,
Yeah, it really does. I remember a few years ago at the old gym, we had a girl training with us at the time who was a hardcore CrossFitter, and she wanted to compete in the CrossFit Games. And I assumed when she tried to sign up, I was like, I don't know if this is the gym for you. If you really want to do CrossFit, you should probably go to a CrossFit gym.
Yeah.
She's like, no, you guys do a lot of stuff that I want to get better at. I'm like, okay, cool. But she came to the games, and it was like, man, this is going to be interesting because like, is she going to think this is silly? Because, we don't have that same kind of like hardcore seriousness of CrossFit.
And there's a bit of tongue in cheek in there, and
that's right.
Lots of laughter.
There's a performance piece in there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But she fucking dug in so deep and went super hard on the day. She was competing against Jimmy Wright all day.
Who was it again?
Her name was Antoinette.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, it was classic.
That was good.
She went home pretty beat.
Yeah, she went. I mean, but it was awesome. It was like, okay, this is cool. Like someone who's very serious about competition can actually come into this event and is tongue in cheek and is kind of off.
Be satisfied.
As funny as this, they can really put in and have a good day.
Definitely a lot of stimulus that she wouldn't be challenged with anywhere else as well.
That's right.
Yeah, because there's a bunch of events we haven't even mentioned, like flip fatality, and we used to have the tree climb, and that's. Yeah. That's a bit of grappling stuff as well.
Well, that's where things started to evolve a little and get a little more serious. Like there's space there for the fight. And then we had our first sparring events, which were more about the flair. And we had our first jiu-jitsu tournament, which was like just a grappling tournament. And then eventually that led to what should have been our last JB Games, but ended up being our JB charity fight night. And that was as serious as competition has gotten in our gym.
Yeah.
They were proper fights, but with 16-ounce gloves and shin pads. But fuck, everyone was going for it. And the grappling as well, which was mad.
Yeah.
We've talked about that. But that's kind of that if the JB Games was heading into that direction, but where does it go from here? How much more how can we up the intensity?
I hear
It's got to be MMA. There has to be some form of MMA event in there and strongman.
I think it's like a chess boxing kind of thing. Like it's like a combination of two completely different events,
What'd you say?
At the same
chess
time.
boxing.
What's that?
Oh, you don't know? Oh, right.
Chest boxing?
Chess.
It's fucking exciting.
You play, you and your opponent do alternate rounds. One round is a boxing round in the ring, and then the next round is a move on the chessboard. So you go down to the chessboard, play your move, and then I don't know if it's one chess move and one round, or if it's a couple of moves and then
I think
a
it's a speed.
How many rounds?
Chess for 3 minutes.
Right.
And then you come
do
on.
your move in under 30 or something like that.
So you can win by checkmate or like KO.
Bro, don't even come in. I'm in.
I watched a fight
in.
where a guy was just getting fucking bashed every round, and then in the final round, in the last like 10 seconds, he checkmated the other fella.
No way.
Yeah, he was done for.
How
this
often
guy was just trying to knock him the fuck out because he was probably not very good at chess. This other dude, every time he was just like on this hunt on the chessboard, just hunting, and he gets a checkmate at the end. And the crowd go fucking bananas.
So you can lose it
and
one
the
or
coach
two
runs
ways.
in and picks him up. And
Why haven't I heard of this before?
It's full on. I was surprised at how exciting.
Do you guys know how to play chess?
Yeah.
Okay,
I do. I'm not very good though.
I can play chess.
No.
I haven't played for a long time.
I'm not very good.
This.
Yeah, I'm down.
Okay, well,
we could
yeah,
do something like that where
Yeah.
it's like strongman event, like a strongman round, a grappling round, a striking round.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then something very movement based in there,
Yeah.
you know?
So where it goes is like we go back to the drawing board. Usually we still look at the attributes, and we need to expose all attributes when we're going into it, and then we review what we had before, and then we see what how we can evolve. Yeah, do something new.
All about the
and then there's
evolution.
favorites. There's always favorites in there that we've got to keep.
And I guess one of the things about when we think of that style of event in the context of like the greater context of people training across the world, there's like people obviously get good at what they do. And an event like ours is designed to expose what you're not good at. So you might come into an event like that and practice a lot of weightlifting and crush the power lift, like the deadlift
And have a
max,
huge engine.
right? Yeah, and you might be able to smash like whatever it is, the Circus Maximus, but your balance might be totally shit. And when you get to the bridge climb section, you just get rattled. Or when you get to the grappling piece, you just get
Or the high
overrun.
kick. Yeah.
Or the high kick, you can't even compete in it, or limbo.
Yeah.
So the beauty is that like for people who are open to having a go at something that will allow them to do what they're good at, but also expose what they're not.
Yeah.
In the with the view for greater development, that sort of event brings it out, and then that kind of guides your training. It's like, all right, I'm going to work on this.
It is a reflection of what we do as a whole in the gym. Isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
There was a lot of people there. I can't remember. I think it was the high kick, but there was some people in there that were on the fringes or shy in classes. They came out a little bit then. They had a go, and I remember being really surprised because the whole room was watching them do something, where it was only one person having a go. It wasn't like this team event, you're kicking over there and there's a group kicking in masses. There was people coming out. It was really, really cool.
Right.
At the last event, obstacle course is quite good as well, and it's cool. It's built in such a way that you can it starts off easy, then it gets hard, but you get points at checkpoints. 10 points if you get to this point, 20 to this point, and then it's like 50.
We always finish on the obstacle
that.
course.
Yeah. It's lots
And
of
it's
fun.
Great. It's like a Ninja Warrior,
Yeah.
a mini Ninja Warrior inside the gym.
So
And that's actually probably the good way to end because everyone's having a laugh and falling
Yeah.
off the obstacle
And it actually becomes less about the teams in that event.
Yeah.
And more about you just want to see people survive, like get through the course.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't care who it is.
Yeah.
I want to see someone conquer this thing.
Yeah.
Which is, it's cool. It's a very nice way to wrap the whole thing up.
Yeah.
What do you got there, Paulie?
just a picture of Morgs hanging on the thing.
That's a great picture.
But also at the pub afterwards, Sue got up and did that thank you to Jungle Brothers speech. But just everyone there at the end, we went for beers.
Oh,
in the pub
yeah.
and covered in face paint.
At that local brewery.
Yeah, we all had like half a beer and fell over.
We're
Grab it.
done. Like your voice is gone from
Yeah.
yelling all day.
Yelling all day.
Yeah. And you're like, quick, let's get out of here because tomorrow's Sunday and then Monday we're back at the gym.
Yeah. But it is one of those events where you don't forget it.
No.
It's like, oh, yeah, I did that one.
Yeah.
Like you'll be telling people for a long time.
You remember each one,
Yeah,
that's
it's
for sure.
fucking fun.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the next one. Hopefully we'll have a bit more room to move this year, perhaps.
Perhaps a greener pasture. What are we talking about there, T-Bone?
Oh, I don't, well, we've got to fucking get this 20-person limit lifted.
That's what it is.
Once that's gone, we're on. We tried to run it in the park last year.
Yeah,
but
Dylan put all sorts of
he
council
fucking tried,
inquiries
yeah.
in and they wouldn't let us do it.
It's too much work, eh?
and it was probably probably not necessarily. We had enough work on our plate that year.
Yeah.
Last year. So I'm hoping this year we get a little bit of leeway. We'll see what happens.
Keep an eye on and remember this: if you want to compete in the JB Games, entry's simple. You just got to be a member of the gym.
Yeah.
Come join.
But if you want to know more about the event, text us. There's other bits and pieces in there.
Come join the cult.
We'll come join and then we'll tell you all about it.
Yeah. The cult.
Thanks for listening, guys. That was episode 101. If you need any help, get at us, junglebrothers.com, or on Instagram at Jungle Brothers Movement. We've been putting a whole bunch of stuff onto our YouTube channel lately, so you can find us there. Little exercise tutorials, little insights into things that we're learning, our coaches' development, and just sort of general bits from around the gym. That's Jungle Brothers Strength and Movement. Just search that on YouTube.
Coach's internship. Have we got one coming up?
Coach's internship. Thank you. We do. And I'm actually really excited because we've decided to change the format and we're going to run the Coach's Intensive. It's a 2-day event run over a weekend, a Saturday and a Sunday. We'll be running it on the 8th and the 9th of May. And it's an intensive. So we'll be taking everything that we teach in our internship, sales, marketing, public speaking, communication, leadership, programming, ethos, building a 5-star PT business, all of these important skill sets to become an excellent coach, PT, and one-day gym owner will be crammed into 2 action-packed 8-hour days.
And that's because it's more accessible for people who can't come for the long haul, yeah?
Yeah, we had a lot of folks who were really interested and they were not able to make the Thursday midday meeting that we have for the internship. And I thought, well, how do we make this thing more accessible to outsiders? And this weekend intensive is the perfect way to do it. And then what we have off the back of that, for people that want more of a practical experience coaching in Jungle Brothers, we have a separate internship experience that for those who are like, hey, I've got the time and I can be around you guys and I can come in and learn from you over a more of a prolonged period, we have another thing going for that. So,
that this structure and this ethos and everything we teach is about opening a gym, but it's about opening a gym like ours, and we'll be talking about more of that next week, I think. Next week?
Not next week.
The week after.
We've got a couple of guests coming up, but yeah, in the next few weeks, we'll be going deep into what that looks like and how folks can get their hands on the systems behind what we do and take this culture and contribute to it and start to run with it for themselves.
And become part of our community.
Oh yeah. Thanks for listening, guys. If you enjoyed the episode, please take a screenshot, post on your Instagram, tag us. It helps us support the show so we can continue to put more awesome episodes out there. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, brah.